Zariyi, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. Now, what's the historical significance? Let's start there. The historical significance of the Durbar celebrations.
For an emirate, especially Kano, which, born and brought up there, I'd say the most conservative in terms of the traditions of, the kings, in terms of the traditions of Islam, in terms of, the majesty of, that emirate in particular, the charisma of the emirs that have gone before now. Historically speaking, if the likes of Ado Bayero, the likes of Abdullah Bayero, and all of those old kings would look at what basically is happening to the emirate, I think from a historical perspective, I'd say it's the fall of an empire. It is the fall of an emirate. It's the crashing of those ancient walls. It goes beyond just a matter of who is king. It goes beyond who is emir. It goes beyond whether there are two people who are trying to resolve something. It has a very deep spiritual significance, especially with the Durbar. I mean, for a place like Kano, I'd say almost a country in its own rights. Frankly speaking, this, without being disrespectful, I'd say it's unfortunately a shame to the history of the Emirate of Kano. I can't compare it to any other emirate in the northern part of the country. Even the seat of the caliphate does not measure in terms of the spiritual and the monarchical significance that Kano holds. But unfortunately, this is where we are. So historically speaking, I see the fall of an empire.
Okay, very interesting way to look at it. But to what extent do you believe the police ban on the Durbar celebrations has political undertones? Let's relate it to the ongoing dispute with the emirship.
Yes. Why I said the fall of an empire is because we have always known the emirs. And I think if I remember well, Ado Bayero wielded such, a very, very significant influence even at the federal level. Not necessarily because he was a politician, no, but because of the power that the house of that rulership had. I did say it has crashed because something that actually began as a tussle for that throne by two families that all feel entitled, that all feel in the lineage of that monarchy, suddenly became a political opening, because at first it looked as if it was just a show of political influence, okay, between either Konkoso or whatever the Konkosia stood for, and then Ganduje and all of that. So it did look as if, well, we will take advantage of it to exact our political influence. That was basically how it began. Then all of a sudden, it now looked like actually a political opportunity to capitalize upon. An example is, frankly speaking, you are more likely to set Kano on fire on matters that concern their rulership than even on political issues. So if I was a crafty politician and I saw such a happening, like what I believe is happening, they are behind the mess that is presently happening are politicians. I may not go as far as mentioning names, but frankly speaking, behind them are politicians, and it is all geared towards 2027. Primarily speaking, create chaos. And it may sound like an overstatement. Possibly we may have another Rivers being reenacted or repeated in Kanu, not far from the 2027 elections, looking at what's happening in the courts and all of that. It will be delayed, and each of the parts will feel the strength to prevail over the other. And then a time will come when something will go wrong, and we'll see how it's going to turn out. But as far as I'm concerned, I think from being a platform where politicians wanted to exert their influence, unfortunately, so all of them indigents of Kano, to a place where a greater picture is seen to be capitalized in the chaos that will ensue. So even if there is any chance for peace, I am most certain the unscrupulous elements behind it will
Okay,
fuel
then
the
Zariyi.
fire. So yes, it has turned into
Zariyi,
politics.
what it sounds like you're saying is that the police and the ban are all just simply tools. But could this ban set a precedence for future public events in Kano? From what you're saying, it seems like perhaps maybe this is what it's being set up to do. Am I correct?
Well, it appears at the moment, the ban is a situation because you cannot have two kings being paid homage to on one, within the same walls. It won't happen. You cannot have both of them riding on their horses with all of their nobles and all of that. It's not going to happen. So what has happened now is basically an unfortunate blow to the emirate, basically the tradition of that ruling class. That's one. And then the ease with which the government is beginning to interfere in what was strictly traditional and what was classy, run by the, emirates is a dangerous sign. So it has two faces. One, it may appear like on one side, okay, we're trying to keep the peace because at some point two kings will set out and then there would be chaos. So we're trying to, keep the peace. While that is true, I think it is less, of what the reason is. A lot of people are wielding their forces. A time will come when it might no longer be, there might no longer be, an emirate there. That is what basically I think, because if we are able to create a scenario where it looks as if recognizing just one of the two will create chaos in that ancient city, then most likely it is whatever turns out, it's to the ruin of that this ancient rulership line. That basically is how I see it. So yes, it is an opening for dabbling by not just the government but by politicians to achieve very dubious and selfish means.
Zariyi, I want to say thank you very much for giving us your input on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much.